Hey guys, I wanted to jump on and just go through a few things that you should think about when you're designing your floor plan for your custom house. Um, Beyond the basics, I suppose. I would say the basics are make sure you're understanding your budget, make sure that you're understanding the square footage or the style that your budget allows. Make sure that you are thinking through inclusions while you're designing your house in terms of size, etc. And what I mean by that is if you want a walkout basement, how does that affect budget, which affects size, etc., etc., etc. Beyond those things, I want to talk about things that I feel like for the most part, people understand that. You need to understand what your budget is, understand that what your size restrictions likely are within that. But I want to go beyond that and talk about some things that once we get past that point and we get into the process and we get drawings kind of like that started, as you're going through the editing process, what to think through when you do that. So I'm going to switch this around. This is actually a live plan that we are in the middle of right now. So I'm actually going to talk through some of the edits that I'm going to propose and that I want to see, and kind of explain why. So I'm going to flip this around here right now. Okay, so the first thing that I think about once we get to this stage, which right now you're looking at concept drawings. And once we get to this stage, these aren't polished. These aren't completely finished. This is our second draft. So I have done some edits on the first draft, but they were pretty minor, to be honest. So this is what you would see if you were to start concept drawings and got to kind of that editing phase. So the first thing that I think through is everyday function. And what I mean by everyday function, a lot of people call it lifestyle, but beyond lifestyle, I try and think through the literal day-to-day actions of what a day in a life of would look like. So what I mean by that is this. So you can see my cursor here on the left. So you're going to come into the house from the garage, right? Whether you're coming home from work or from soccer practice or hockey practice, you're going to come in through the garage into the mudroom. What does that look like? Well, right here we have bench and hooks and built-ins planned for storage. So this is where everything can get dropped. This is where homework can be dropped. It's where office bags can get dropped, backpacks, maybe even like in the springtime, if you have muddy boots, there could be a spot built in here that's more rough, that maybe those muddy boots don't ever make it into the mudroom, or maybe they do. Maybe there's a place in the built-ins or in the bench and hooks that's specifically for that, and you think through the material that you're using in this room to accommodate that. But from a general standpoint, we have the mudroom. It's pretty large, and it's for all these types of things. These built-ins could store off-season clothing, etc., 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 dog leashes, those types of things. From there, then what do? Okay, now you come out, and let's just say it's the evening, so now you're going to be cooking dinner. Okay, so what does that look like? If you're trying to envision yourself actually cooking dinner and what you want that experience to be looking like. So in this scenario, we have a fairly large island with a lot of prep space. There's good countertop space in the corner here. Same thing for prep work, as well as on the left side of the sink. There's a pretty big walking area in between wall cabinets and island. So what that allows for is that if you're cooking dinner, whether your kids are playing inside, maybe you have small kids, they're playing in the great room here, there's a great sight line. You can watch them doing that. If they're playing in the backyard, we have a large window here. You can see them playing in the backyard. If it's summertime and you're barbecuing and you're coming in and out of the kitchen, we have a great access right to the deck, right off the kitchen. If you have friends over from an entertaining standpoint, this is a great entertaining area. It's large, it's open, there's lots of walking spaces. Same thing if it's summertime, there's great access back and forth outside, but yet at the same time, we have a powder room that guests can use where it is kind of tucked away and private. Then thinking through what the rest of the day looks like. I'm going to scroll down here and show you the second floor. So the second floor is right here. Like I said, we have some edits to make yet, but just from a pure daily function standpoint, we have the owner's suite, the master bedroom on the left side of the house. We have the kids' bedrooms on the right side of the house, so that mom and dad are getting ready. They're not waking the kids. To go further down that path, in this scenario, we have door from the master to the ensuite, and then we have the walk-in closet in the ensuite. That way, if mom is a nurse and works shift work, for example, she gets up earlier than dad, she's able to get ready, get dressed, etc., etc., all within this room without waking dad. When she's ready, lights turn off, she leaves, goes downstairs to get ready. Those are the types of things that I mean when I say think through everyday function. Does your house actually allow your lifestyle to be easier? It can be the same thought with kids. These kids, maybe there's some age difference, so maybe they go to bed at different times, so they're separated by the laundry room. Thinking through things like that is what I mean when I talk about thinking through everyday function. Going into the basement, large bonus space that can be for family, and then we have some extra bedrooms down there. So from an everyday function standpoint, don't strictly think about, does the house fit my lifestyle? Like, think through a day in the life of you, and does the house actually function how you want to live? And don't necessarily think about how you currently live, because you don't currently live in this house, and you're building a custom home for a reason. So make sure that how you want to live is how you design that house. The next thing to think through is storage. I think that in a lot of scenarios, people overthink permanent storage. And I'll use this plan for an example. So in this house, on this main floor, from a pure storage perspective, other than kitchen, we have rod and shelf, we have another shelves here, we have built-ins in the mudroom, and then on the second floor, we have obviously closets in the bedrooms, but you actually don't see any other permanent storage. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about, is permanent storage. When you're thinking through storage, you have to think about where you are in your life cycle of your family. For example, if you're a family of 4 and you have 2 kids under 5, your storage needs are going to be a lot different today than they're going to be in 10 years from now. Right now, for example, let's move into the basement. Right now, for example, you may have 2 kids under 5 with a bunch of toys to store. Well, in that scenario, maybe you don't want permanent storage. Arguably, there could be a closet right here, and that could serve a purpose for a long period of time. The only problem is it's not versatile. Instead of putting permanent storage here, what if, for now, there were built-ins, and they don't have to be expensive, but they were built-ins with the purpose to store the toys that the kids have now, and maybe the toys that the kids are going to have for the next 5 years. But in 10 years, those storage needs are going to be different. Maybe all of a sudden the kids enjoy, kayaking. Maybe they enjoy paddleboarding on the river. Maybe they are playing soccer. Maybe they're playing hockey. And maybe that storage needs to look different. Well, in those scenarios, there's nothing permanent here. So that built-in storage that's for the small kids now can get screwed off the wall, and new storage can get screwed in place. That makes your home and your storage more versatile for the long haul of your family, instead of the short-sightedness of just right now. These bedrooms are another great example of flexible storage. So they're drawn as bedrooms. They don't have to be bedrooms. Maybe one of them is a bedroom, and the other one is just an open storage room. The furnace room is over here, but you have all the mechanical equipment in here. So how much things can you actually store? So maybe you do create a space that's just open, with open shelving that stores all of your canned goods and your bags of chips and the cans of pop and stuff like that, your Costco runs, and more of your open shelving things, maybe the appliances that you use once a year, things like that. I think